All right, welcome to Racers Odds. Andrew Kurland here. David Stiles is a little under the weather. We're going to let him rest his voice. So we're bringing in Kevin Redfern again, who found a whiteboard, by the way, right behind him. Today it's all about finding the value.
Yep.
Kev, how you doing? How the bets looking?
Doing great, Andrew. Another great year of betting NASCAR. It's been so much fun. We're still riding our Tyler Reddick future. And this is my first appearance on Racers Odds since my second pre-race or preseason future hit, and that was Carson Hocevar over 0.5 wins for the year. So again, if you tuned into that show in February, you're riding high. If you want, go back and listen to it. There's still a couple things you could take advantage of on there 10 weeks into the season.
What else do you have that has not come to fruition yet?
Well, one of the other futures we placed on that show was Chase Elliott championship future. So those two plus Chase Briscoe were the three championship futures. 2 of 3 are looking really good right now, with 2 of those 3 guys in the top 3 or 4 in points. I'm not sure if Elliott's 3rd or 4th off the top of my head, but we're in a good spot. We're still monitoring, but it's early in the season, and both those guys still have championship hopes.
All right, so you texted me before this saying you've got a strategy when it comes to Watkins Glen. I'm very curious to see what it is. I've got some stats that I think would support guys after we see a little bit of practice and qualifying, but it seems like your head's in the right place when it comes to Watkins Glen, so why don't you walk me through it?
Yeah, so road courses obviously make our job a lot more complicated as week-to-week NASCAR bettors because of the king of the road, Shane Van Gisbergen. And I don't think that Tyler Reddick's win at COTA earlier this year really changes how you look at this as SVG being the favorite. I think that's going to maintain the case throughout the weekend. I think he's going to show speed early. COTA, as we know, is kind of like a weird track for SVG. He just doesn't seem to have the same dominance that he did everywhere else last year. So with SVG just being a clear favorite, and the odds for race winning being just unbettable at anywhere from plus 125 to minus 110 across the books. It's a great week to look at top 10s, Andrew. And typically this is a space I don't dabble much in, but this week it's undeniably great. So I want to point you to a stat real quick here, Andrew. So using last year's road course speed heat chart for all road courses for myfantasyrace.com, ranking all of the drivers in terms of average speed at road courses. And then looking at Watkins Glen as a track and seeing how drivers fare in speed at Watkins Glen in specific. I've tried to cross-reference and get a couple things down here. So there are a total of 6 drivers who are in the top 10 in average speed across all road courses last year and at Watkins Glen in the next gen era. Those 6 drivers are Shane Van Gisbergen, Christopher Bell, William Byron, Michael McDowell, AJ Allmendinger, and Ryan Blaney. SVG as a winner as a top 10 is unbettable. Christopher Bell and William Byron at top 10s, both still not great value range. On DraftKings, you can get Bell at minus 190 and Byron at minus 140, and that's the best you're looking at. But then you look at the other 3, Michael McDowell, AJ Allmendinger, Ryan Blaney. 2 guys, road course aces. We know how they do well. And then Ryan Blaney, a guy who isn't really known for that, but last year in the last couple of road courses has shown a ton of speed. Those are all guys who are in plus money on the top 10s right now. McDowell, AJ Allmendinger, Ryan Blaney are each, as of Wednesday afternoon, plus 110 on DraftKings. I think that those are must bets. They're guys who are consistent road course factors all of last year. They're good at Watkins Glen. I think it's an easy week to look at this by the book after a year last year where there just weren't many incidents, cautions. And so looking at this from the rankings perspective for value, finding the value, Michael McDowell, AJ Allmendinger, Ryan Blaney are the guys to look at.
Blaney's an interesting one. I saw a stat somewhere. He is on a 25 race winless streak without a top 5 in the road courses. Yet, as you said, ranks within that top 10 of drivers with speed and average finish when it comes to road courses. 5th through 10th seems to be Blaney's sweet spot. If he's going to have a good day, that's where you would go. I think you nailed it. Stay away from a top 5 for Ryan Blaney, but maybe a top 10 I think would make the most sense for him.
Yeah, top 5s and purely anecdotally seem like kind of a gotcha bet for me. Like the value jump from top 10 to top 5 just isn't that great historically across a lot of books. But yeah, I think Blaney was a guy who might have had speed to match SVG at Sonoma last year before he got punted going into turn 1. Just a guy who, like, when you're analyzing road courses is kind of a secondary thought, but I would not be surprised if he shows speed all weekend.
There's a guy I've been thinking of all weekend, and if it's not Shane Van Gisbergen, I love me some Chris Buescher. Now, I think you could maybe do like a plus 1,800 to win just for fun and just see how that goes. And you don't have to put a lot of units on that to just make it interesting. But even a Buescher top 5 plus 235, I think is the best value I feel like I've seen in terms of a top 5 finish. This guy is one of the best in the next gen car when it comes to racing on road courses, if we're not talking about SVG. And his last career win came at Watkins Glen 2 years ago in 2024 when there were guys racing for the playoffs. So he can win at Watkins Glen with a lot of high pressure situations. What do you think about Chris Buescher this weekend?
Great bet. He's one of the guys who just missed the cut on that kind of cross-referencing I talked about. He's a guy who's top 15 in road course speed and top 15 in Watkins Glen speed. Minus 110, I think, is still good value for top 10. I totally agree with it. How I view Chris Buescher is kind of how you talked about Ryan Blaney, where like this guy's if it's going to take a drastic miss from RFK to not put Chris Buescher in a top 10 car at a road course. Like, we just don't see that very often in the last year. So top 5 might be a stretch just because some of these road course guys have shown so much speed. But I guess you can loop him into that. So yeah, top 10 minus 110 is great. You talked about him as a race winner. If you're going to take a long shot on a race winner right now, a lot of Twitter right now is talking about Ty Gibbs as well. Ty Gibbs opened on DraftKings at about 28 to 1, and he's fallen to about 25 to 1. I think that's the best place you're going to get him. But I think everyone kind of agrees at this point, you're betting on an incident, right? They say betting on a caution is not race strategy on the broadcast every weekend. Like, that's kind of the same situation from a betting standpoint here.
I'm looking at these odds, and Shane Van Gisbergen, no doubt, is the favorite. But then Connor Zilisch, at least at the book that I'm looking at, is the second most favorite to win the race. And they were talking about this on Fast Talk. Both Brad Gilley and Alexis Erickson said they wouldn't be surprised if Connor Zilisch wound up in victory lane. I think that's crazy. I think I would be quite shocked if Connor Zilisch wound up in victory lane. He's a wickedly good road course racer, but at the same time, there are so many good guys in the next-gen car. If we're talking about the O'Reilly race, which I'm pretty sure he's entered in, sure, bet Connor Zilisch all day long. He's got 2 wins in that series already, won his first career start. I think there's just too many other good players and too many other good drivers at Watkins Glen for Zilisch to be that good in odds. Are you staying away from him?
I don't know. I'm not as negative. I mean, so Connor Zilisch, from a pure betting strategy standpoint, he's a guy I'm going to be looking at as a live bet opportunity, potentially depending on where he qualifies. Because I kind of disagree. He's shown a ton of speed in Cup car recently. I'm thinking last year at COTA. I'm thinking this year at COTA. And we don't know about how he performs in the Cup car at Watkins Glen, his favorite track, because of
what
happened after the O'Reilly then Xfinity Series race. So no, I think that, I mean, Connor Zilisch is probably going to show a ton of speed in practice, I'm guessing. He just seems to get bit by some of these mid-pack incidents. I think, Andrew, you got a great view of it at COTA this year.
Yeah, it happened right in front of me. Right under my nose. He spun in front of about everybody, and they parted the seas to avoid him.
Yeah, yeah. So I think he's been bitten by a couple of instances, which is I think common of a young Cup Series driver, but definitely think that he's going to show some speed this weekend.
One thing that's going to be interesting, the last 6 road course winners have started on the front row.
Yes.
And that to me is something that I'd be looking at on Saturday. Obviously, if you get a good qualifying effort, those odds are going to not swing in your favor. But if you catch it right at the right time, is that something you'd be looking at in terms of trying to catch it before the books shift, or even looking at practice speed, seeing who's fast, trying to predict who's on that front row?
Yeah, I think this is where you look at the Chris Buschers and the Ty
Yeah,
Gibbs, and you almost make the bet that they're going to qualify well up there, and then you've got them at the longer odds now for when they dip. I mean, that's a very, very hard game to play because a lot of the speed stuff, average finish we talk about, it can get nullified by one bad setup. So, um, you pick one guy, you pick two guys to get on that early in the week, and then just kind of hope and pray. Like I could see a Blaney qualifying fast. I could see a
yeah,
Ty Gibbs. I could see a Chase Briscoe. Like those are all guys who have been strong on road courses, have great cars, do great consistently, and there's going to be one or two of them who qualify well and will be in position to pounce if something happens with the 97 and or the 88.
right. One
Also, real
thing,
quick, I don't
yeah,
want
go
to cut you
ahead.
off, but another thing too is like the rain. Like the conditions might play a role in all of this, and that usually throws a ton of hiccups into it. So that's like one factor here where a lot of this can kind of get flipped on its head easily.
Well, not to mention that this is a longer race, 100
Yep.
laps. It's the first race that we've had this month. Usually we run it way later into the season. You have the new package, horsepower package of 750, which again, I think that plays further into SVG's hands because when
Agreed.
tires wear, he can save those better than anybody else. But the biggest thing that I'm seeing is turn one, you can't race that like a bat out of hell because there's those tire packs that now keep track limits super close, super tame. And again, I feel like all this plays in SVG's hands because where did he get his first career win? Chicago, where that was a completely unforgiving track. It was tight, it was narrow. So, um, just some new things to look at. I did want to point something out, though. I found this was quite entertaining. DraftKings put a head-to-head matchup of Kyle Busch and John Hunter Nemechek. Who's going to finish in front of the other? Busch is favored at minus 260. John Hunter Nemechek plus 185. David sent me this saying that he was quite entertained by it. I think he even said he was going to put some money on it. $2, he said he was going to put some money on
To
Kyle
win a
Busch to
couple of
outrun
cents.
John Hunter Nemechek.
Yeah.
Basically, what they're saying is is John Hunter gonna get payback on Kyle Busch?
Yeah, I mean, you will not see a minus 260 on a head-to-head bet very often if they're not trying to take advantage of some sort of fan sentiment there. That's crazy. I did not see that. And I got to be honest, I can't say I studied John Hunter Nemechek's speed that much. Kyle
That's
Busch
all right.
though
Yeah, I don't think a
is
lot of people would when it comes to Watkins Glen.
right. Kyle Busch is a guy who is also kind of on the edge of that margin I was talking about earlier. He is the top 15 car in average speed over road courses over the last year. And he was like 15th, 16th, or 17th at Watkins Glen. So um, he's shown decent speed, but a top 10 seems to be kind of the ceiling there.
David Stiles, he texted me some of his bets. He said Christopher Bell to win at plus 1,200, Hocevar to top 10 plus 220. He's going to take Larson over Blaney minus 115 in a head-to-head matchup, and then that Kyle Busch bet. I'll have to add in, I've done a weekly tradition of putting $1 on Tyler Reddick to win the race every single week. So I got to add that to the mix. But if you had to
When did you
pick,
start?
huh?
When did you start?
I started, I think, after Coda.
Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah.
I think I
Pretty
put
impressive.
I think I predicted him to win Coda though. So after that I'm like, all right, he's winning 3 in a row. He's gonna win basically every race. I might as well put $1 on him to win every time. And I think I'm up from it. So
Yeah. Yeah. This would be another good week. I mean, he's a guy who like now books are starting to kind of bring him down to the Denny
yeah.
Hamlins on the intermediates, the plus 500, plus 600. But some weeks you can get some good value on a guy who's run won a lot of races.
Yeah. We do our pick'em game, and I picked Chase Elliott last week, and I'm feeling pretty darn good about that. He scored, I think, almost darn near max points day. David is going to pick AJ Allmendinger. You can only pick one driver once. And I'm going to ride with my guy, Chris Buescher. I feel like if it's not SVG, I'm trying to save him for San Diego. I feel like this is the place to run Chris Buescher. If you could pick him for one race,
yeah. So can I pick? Am I allowed to pick?
Sure. Why not? Jump in on it.
All right. I'm gonna go with one where I feel like I would have picked someone already. Like I would have. You guys talked a lot about Gibbs before Bristol, and I was with you guys on that one. Then he won, so I can't pick him. I'm gonna go with Blaney. I'm gonna stick to my guns because he went Larson over Blaney. I'm gonna go head to head with David on this one.
Here's the only thing that's interesting is basically this game. You get however many points the driver earns. Well, if you're racing to win the race, you are going to short pit stage one. And so you're going to miss out on all those points unless you're Shane Van Gisbergen and you're that freaking good and you can get stage points anyways.
Right.
But that's what makes these road course races interesting when it comes to this game because
yes.
I don't think anyone has finished darn near close to the top 15, top 20 while winning stage one outside of like a random, really super fast anomaly like SVG.
Yep. Yeah, that's the great. He'll be fun to watch. Like I know a lot of people don't love when it's a butt whooping, but he's incredibly talented, and hopefully Vizilic can start catching him, and we can get those Saturday battles on Sunday.
100%, Kev. Well, any closing thoughts? Anything you want to write down on that whiteboard behind you?
No, nothing I can write down, but I will say the hair looks fantastic, Andrew. I mean, we got to keep
really.
The hair is a recurring theme I know on this show. I know we've worked a lot of iterations, but I think we've landed in a good spot.
I've come a long way from that buzz cut from when we first met.
Yeah.
Your hair looks good too, Kev.
Thanks. Thank you. I try.
All right. Well, for Racers Odds, thanks for listening, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on the podcast. Remember, we're on all podcast platforms now, so make sure to subscribe. And Kev, thanks for taking some time, and hopefully we can find that value this week.
Yes. Thank you so much for finding the value.